the central part of your training? Is it running? Is it sparring? Or
Central part is dodging the nightclubs and the parties and the girls. You want the truth? And being in the bed by yourself at 9 o'clock at night. If you can get by that, you'll make it.
Hey,
I mean,
Mohammed.
that's the truth. Now, I tell you the truth. You talk all that running and hitting the bags and jogging and vitamins you want.
Mr. Ali.
Dodging ladies is the main thing,
Mohammed.
especially when you're pretty like me.
what's the
Yes, yes, y'all. We are here. We are here. We are here. Welcome to the Evaluation of Love, episode 21. Me and Miss Polly in the building. You know, salute to everybody in the chat that already checked in, like M3. Salute to M3. Good to see you, brother. You know what I mean? Glad you checked in. But yeah, Miss Polly, what's going on? Let me add our Instagram people. You know what I mean? So they can watch along as well. Let me copy and paste this. But Miss Polly, how are you doing this evening? What's going on?
I'm okay. I'm okay this evening. One day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time, a little bit at a
Yes,
time.
ma'am.
Get scheduled together and such. What about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. You know what I mean? Hopefully your weekend, was smooth and cool. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, like mine was. You know what I mean. But no Miss Polly, she's always in an adventure. So you know what I mean. we know you always got an adventure going on. So
Mm-mm.
yeah. So, you know what I mean. With that being said, hold on, let me get the live audience for our Instagram peoples going. You know what I mean? Salute to everyone on the Instagram. They are now being added. So yeah, so Miss Polly, what is our curriculum today? What do you have that you want to talk to us about? You know what I mean? We got all ears. What's going on?
Okay. So, okay, let me get my vibe right. I gotta get my vibe right. But
Take your time.
I definitely um wanted to have some conversation about different kinds of interactions that we have in our lifetime. We're gonna talk about that. So different
Okay.
interactions that we have in our lifetime, and I will gladly share my own, of course, to some degree. And what kind of people touch us in our life. So a lot of times, if you guys don't know, we'll just go down a few because I think it's very helpful. Start out the layout here. Some of the people that you meet, you hear people talk about like soulmates.
Mhm.
You hear about your twin flame. You
Mhm.
also hear about the karmic um, mate. Now that one is like a karmic mate, and then you also hear about uh, having a muse. You don't hear about muses that much anymore, but that was one of those that I think still exists, and we really need to talk about that at a time in deeper uh, conversation about what muses are and what I believe muses are. And so, um, I want to start with that format, and then I wanted to kind of dive into. I'll do it the other way. I'll tell you um, what I would think that the biggest, I guess, impacts that I've had in my life. Now, I will say
Okay.
this: it didn't start. Usually, people are like they start when they're real young. You get a little taste of a relationship, and then you're like, oh, well, that's kind of something they go off of, right? Some people say you have to wait till later to kind of meet someone and get something more deeper. Well, I will say, um, I think I didn't meet uh, any real impactful people. Um, until later because I can recognize it. The other people that you meet in your life, I believe that those are just regular relationships and interactions that you have, but there are always going to be some major ones that stick out to you, and you remember those folks for forever, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I will say, in this time span of being poly, I think I have gained a deeper understanding and knowledge of who is in these areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the people I will point out here, I think I've met my twin flame, uh, my soulmate, my
Mm.
karmic, my karmic. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna look this up because I should look like I said, but it's a karmic mate. Now that one, and then there's the muse. I think that most muses are women. I really we had talked about that. So, but the
Okay.
okay, so for mine, I'm gonna give a name out, but we're just gonna go with this. For the twin flame, I have met. I believe I have met the twin flame. Twin flame in definition. I know you can look up some of these definitions too while we talk about it. The definition of twin flame is the one you have. It's almost like it's a mirror image of yourself, right? And
Mm.
very very similar things in life. Maybe different because you may be the opposite sex. So there's some things obviously as men and women that we may have and a little bit different, but the life choices, the major ones, they're usually like very similar. You seem like y'all did the same exact things and we're very, very similar in certain areas and just big decision making that you've made.
Mm.
And it's like a mirror image of yourself. So that's the one thing. I think I've met that person. And
Okay.
usually they say when you're with them that you they say you're not supposed to be with them forever, but you'll continue to have interaction with them over and over again. At some point, once you meet them, usually like you don't really let them go fully. So
Mm.
you hear
Okay.
that could be some problems. So
Mm.
and a lot of times they said if you read like some people who want to be with their twin flame, a lot of times they said you guys usually have to. What we were talking about was that they the point is their twin flame, they're almost exactly like you. So the things that you don't like in yourself or you have to work on, they're gonna mirror that. They're gonna have those issues. And then you're like, oh God. And
Mm.
so what happens is a lot of times unless you guys fully get to work on those issues and develop from that, you guys will usually never be able to completely be together. But if you do get those healed and get fixed up, whatever that is, issue you have,
Mhm.
you usually tend to want to be with your twin flame.
So that's kind of like trauma bonding in a sense.
I wouldn't say trauma bonding because they're not experiencing it per se together. The stuff they've experienced is by themselves, but it just mirrors what you've experienced by yourself.
I mean, you can trauma bond with someone and y'all not
Yeah.
like experience it together.
I
You can
guess you're
experience
right.
it
You
separately.
mean like you can associate, be like, oh, I understand where you're coming from. I've had that happen to me too. I mean, well,
Exactly.
we had on a show about that trauma bonding, which I don't think necessarily bonding. I don't think it always has to be a bond. It can be an understanding where someone's coming from, which makes it even
Mm.
more of a connection because they'll understand what has happened. So
Mm.
someone who's been on that journey already, and someone you can be like, "Hey, I want to be myself," or be very honest, and then that usually ends up being very intimate. That's why the intimacy with your twin flame is astronomical. I think I have met that
Yeah.
person. Yeah, and I,
Yeah.
I believe I did experience that, and it is like that. And I said was, you're not together, but I say is because
Mm.
I know it. Like if I was to see that person, I'd be like it's like nothing happened. But I know, I know we're not together. But it's like it's literally like you're drawn to them, and it is what it is. But it doesn't mean anything. This is where that being mature enough to know that it's okay that it's done and move forward and you don't have to continue if you don't want to but you can recognize what do you like and things like that. Since I'm poly, I don't want to
Mm.
get too deep into that because for me, since I'm not monogamous, I could, have another go. That's what I'm saying. But that's something.
Mm.
If you weren't, then
Mm-hmm.
you already have someone else. Then obviously you may not want to go down that road again because a lot of times the monogamy is a little bit different. So, um,
Okay.
that's why it's a little different for me myself personally because I could be like a year from now or something if something happened and like we were to rejoin, I could be like, hey, maybe that could be possibly. But not saying
Mm-hmm.
it would, but you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different. But for monogamous people especially people who have decided not to go backwards, that is usually they won't go backwards, but they usually do with that particular person. Okay, that's a twin flame.
Understood.
Okay,
Understood.
now we're okay, and then we can go deeper into twin flames on it later. I know people want to talk and stuff, but
Okay.
next one I think I've met the soulmate. Wait, I'll
Mm.
talk about soulmate later.
Oh boy.
Pause.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Pause.
She's starting
I'll
to
go back.
sweat.
I'm gonna go back in. Yeah. Oh God. Oh God. Okay. Now
Yeah,
we're gonna do
listen,
soulmate last.
listen. I know that feeling. I know that feeling, Miss Polly.
We're
Oh
gonna
man,
do we're gonna do
woo!
soulmate last. Okay, we're gonna do soulmate last.
Love right
We're
there,
gonna
love,
do
baby.
we're gonna do we were having a conversation and it's so funny.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say it now. I'll bring it up later. That I was having a conversation with my soulmate about. I was like, I said about a twin flame. And this is when we first met. He said, "What do you think I'm your twin flame?" I said, "No, you're not." And he was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "But I don't know what you are yet." And then when I figured out, I said, "Oh no, this
Mm,
is something else." So that's why
mm,
at first I was like, "Yeah, no, you're not twin flame. I know about twin flames." I was like, "I don't know what you are yet." And then, and now I've come to that conclusion of what he is to me. So, baby, but pause. We're gonna go back to that later. We're gonna go
okay,
forward.
okay. Listen,
Okay.
I'm not trying to get you to sweat too much right now. Let's
No,
keep it
let
moving.
me okay. The karmic. This one, okay. I'm gonna look it up for y'all later. I can't do it now, but it's a karmic. Basically, he's they kind of will they test you. They're gonna test you through all the stuff you struggled with throughout your life in relationship, and it's like they're there for the lesson, but only for the lesson. But sometimes people who are trying to get in a relationship and they don't recognize this is a karmic issue where it's going to continue to go bad over and over
Mm,
again, over and over again. You like, and that's why I think you said those toxic relationships are a lot. There's some of people who pair that are usually karmic um, relationships where they're supposed to end. It's supposed to just show you BS so you'll learn from it and move forward. And some
mm,
people don't. They try to fix it so much to the point it looks ridiculous. And I've done that. I've done it.
mm,
And
mm.
I will say I've done it because I'll say I'll take accountability, but a lot of times I have a separation issue and a
Separation issue. Okay.
separation issue is like once I'm in, I'm connected, I'm down. Like I'm that ride or die kind of like it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
After a certain point, I will get like that, and I don't really believe in disconnecting. It's like
So
I
you
don't
suffer from like separation anxiety in a sense.
like yeah, like all full separation. I really get hear about a little short, but yeah, like that
Mm-hmm.
because I've committed. So I'm a hard committer, and
Mm-hmm.
and when once I make a commitment, I want to stand on it. So if I say I'm going to do something and I say I'm committed to being this for whatever, and I'm not leaving, try to stand on my word as much as possible. So a lot of times when you get in these relationships, um, one thing I'll say is that I'll say if I commit to it, I'm like, oh, I'm not going nowhere. This is it for us, because of the partners I've
Mm-hmm.
had. I used to tell everyone, which is very true. I said these are my life partners, so I can live my life with them. So my commitment, that's because that's very true to me. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't. So in that being that I was committed to it, regardless if it was going bad. I was going to keep trying. So, that's not a bad trait because you have to learn that's not a bad thing to be someone who keeps trying and working on things and knowing that everything's not easy and there might be tough times. There's also a limit and recognizing that some things are meant to end and that's okay too. And so I just
Mm-hmm.
have to just remember and recognize that if I'm going to commit to that degree, that I also need to be able to know to some degree where the other person stands. and I only really held myself accountable to where I stand, regardless of if they want to do it or not. And you have to switch that thought process, and that's okay.
Mm.
You could be committed.
Okay.
You know what they say? That's it. Or that
Mhm.
you might be his girlfriend, but he's not yours. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm committed,
Okay.
but he may not be as committed as I am. Because he may be like,
Okay.
oh, well, let's see how it goes, or yeah, I feel like this is cool. But my commitment, when I commit, is surpassing that. So I have to
Mm.
recognize that everyone else's commitment is as strong as mine, and
Gotcha.
just be mindful of such a thing. Okay, so here we go. So you have to learn from those relationships. You move on, but they're gonna test all the things and the triggers you have, and you're supposed to learn from that. And I think I learned really valuable because I don't really talk about those breakups very much in great detail. But the two partners I was with for 5.5 and 6 years there almost, they
Mm.
see when I said, well, yeah, and one of them was the one that was going to be the karmic. And
Mhm.
one of the issues I just told you about is recognizing that the commitment I have is not the same. And so someone might be saying that and they feel really good about it, but they're not like me. And so the test of mine was to remove those kind of commitments when they weren't healthy, right? And so I learned that, and that's very helpful with the assistance of my soulmate. See, look at that.
Mm.
So, so that is really good. So knowing those karmic ones can look like you just want to keep trying, and for some reason you keep doing it. So be aware of that. And then the muse. I'll go into the muse. Muse is going to be interesting. Muse.
Yeah, those are more often than anything. Yeah.
So I feel like muses. I feel like most women are muses. Now they didn't say it always happens, but most women are muses. They're
That's true.
That's what I feel. Right. I won't get all the way deep to what I think that is all the way, but for now. And then those muses, the muses, they inspire others, and there's different kinds of muses. If you want to look deeper into muses, we can go down that road. If anybody, I looked
Most definitely. Most
deeply
definitely
into
we
it.
go down that road.
While Miss Polly also was doing some research and looking into things. And music, I noticed that I usually tend to be around. I inspire people who like music. There's a lot of people that I think that I feel like they're inspired by me because of music. I'm a music muse. So most of the people that I'm like who are really interested in me usually are connected to music in some way.
Okay.
And they say that it's like, oh, I know they like those things on music as me. Which is very true. I feel like I have a little connection to music. But what's funny is though that like I'm not in depth with it. Like so whatever they see in me is just natural. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, but whatever it is inspires them to be musically inclined. That is most of everyone I've been basically really tied to has been either they sing, they're in the bands, or they used to DJ. And that's the way you can kind of figure it out too if you're a woman. There are artists, women who inspire people who draw, any kind of art. It's usually art affiliated. So those people are drawn to you. And like I said, they want to be inspired. That's one thing. So I feel like there's muses out there. And usually if you have a muse, it's one. It's one. And they'll inspire you for a long period of time, even if you're not with them. And usually you're not going to be with them. Sometimes it can be romantic and sometimes it's not. But when you're around them, you're very much inspired, right? And so when they ask if men can inspire women, I've never seen one yet or looked up this head. It's not impossible, but they say women aren't.
It depends on the maturity of the man. That's a mature man. If he can be inspirational, he's very mature.
To the woman.
Yeah.
So the woman's inspired by the man, and that's why I think there may be. But if you guys look in deeper, it goes down to it goes all the way back. I know some people don't like mess around with mythology. It goes to mythology a little bit, and that will bring us down the road of. I think that everything is usually connected, even to Christianity in some way, and that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
okay. But mythology, and there were these seven daughters, and they inspired, and so that's why they say muses, and they had different specialties. So there's different ones. So you could be a muse, and then that might help you to filter out you um who you draw in. Because if you're a muse, a lot of times people aren't with your muse. Your muse is not. They're usually not someone you're gonna be with. You may have a relationship with them at some point, but you're not
I
gonna
feel like most
be.
people marry their muses, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but their muses won't just be in love with them. It's like look it up. They
Mm.
won't, and they usually have a lot. Muses usually have a lot of freedom
Yeah. Yep.
because when they are not, they don't inspire the person.
Mm.
It's craziest thing. So
Mm.
I haven't seen in my research, I haven't seen a lot of people marry their muses at all. Usually they'll get with them, but they don't stay with them. Like even if they marry them, they're not with them because the muse it's basically like the whatever I've seen it where a muse has been married to someone else, but they
Mm-hmm.
inspire a different person.
Okay.
It's not
Now,
their husband.
now, Miss Polly, I got a question, right?
Sure.
So my question is, out of three categories, who do you think that I am in your life? And I'll tell you who you are. I kind of already told you who you are, but I want to get your view of me, and then I'll tell you my view of you. Go ahead.
We haven't the soulmate yet. We're gonna skip it. Okay.
Oh, you didn't come soulmate yet? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the soulmate. Well, that's the well. I will say this. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know yet. I think I need time because I don't
I know
know.
already. I know
You
already what
know,
it is. But go, but I'm gonna let you get the soulmate. But
I think
I'll share my perspective
okay.
after you
I
get the
think I
soulmate. Go ahead.
kind of know, but I don't want to say it.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Go
I
ahead.
think that's fair. Okay. I'm out. Yeah,
No,
go ahead.
that's fair. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm moving more towards you. Let's
Mm.
continue on.
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um. So you made me mess it up. Soulmate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, the soulmate is definitely they're not necessarily someone who is exactly like you. But they're I think we explained it best when I said it's like a puzzle piece. So you're both puzzle pieces, but you actually
Mm-hmm.
fit. You're not the same shape. You're not the same shape. Yes, there's
Mm-hmm.
some things, but they bring out the better part of you, or they complete the rest of you, and you guys are good, very very well together. And it's a very loving thing when you get that. And I think it's really hilarious.
Very
And
rare as well. Very rare.
yeah, I think you'll meet them at some point. I know, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, you're gonna meet these people. They're all." I don't think there's only one of anything. I just don't believe that.
That's a fact.
But I think, like you said, finding that person um, is still that. But there's so many people and so much interaction now um, across countries and things like that. So I think you could find more than one. Um,
Mm.
so it's very very plausible. And like there's like little things in between, like people who've done like stuff like the twin flame thing, and they looked into stuff, and they're like, oh, there's a fake twin flame. Yeah. Like it's like there's like you can go all deep if you want to, but I think that kind of recognizing those was kind of interesting to me. I think I have started um, entering into a new era emotionally for myself, which is enlightening. Um,
Interesting.
I do. It is slow, but it's like with the help of someone else, which I actually
Mm.
didn't find. So when we talk about the soulmate, because I think I have found my soulmate, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh.
you would have thought that he, like you said, twin flame. You people get that confused a little bit because there are things about him that are like I was like, oh, I wouldn't think anyone would be intellectually or not intellectually. It's not the word. Like, emotionally intelligent on my level, especially men. I really don't find that. Not that.
Mm.
And I actually think he's above me.
Oh wow.
Absolutely. But I don't know how anyone would know because he doesn't. He does. I don't never see him have the conversation. But when I have a
Mm.
conversation with him or a conversation where he overhears me say something and I ask for his opinion or say something, when he started having those conversations, that is what captured me. Because the
Mm.
other things I liked about him, they're cool, whatever. It was
Mhm.
cool. It was like, yeah, I like those things too. But that's with a lot of people that you have that. It's like, okay, I like those things you do are cool, great. We don't click on every little thing like the music. He likes music, the kind of music I like. So like the music, he likes music a lot. What he does with music. And then all of a sudden when I asked a question and he would get deep, I said, oh,
Mm.
and
Oh, touch. Okay.
that's that's
Mm.
when I knew. I said, oh, now we have okay.
Oh
Very,
man.
very often. And so that emotional intelligence I value. Now, and I know it's strange that like I don't get to see it all the time because
Mm.
he does. But when I do get it, I mean, I never really ask for it. I like it to be a natural. If that makes sense. So we're
Mm.
not in the same arenas. Like I do this relationship talking stuff, and then he
Mhm.
does other things. So if they're not in the same group, so then it's like
Mhm.
he's more on tech side, and I can barely use the phone. Y'all know I have problems with my
Oh.
microphone. So let's just be honest. So having that, and so when if we ask questions or we're not playing around or making jokes, it's like, oh, so that was interesting. That definitely
Mm.
that was a sign. So I was like, wait a minute, and then those conversations were good. So
Mm.
and definitely being helpful, but allowing freedom. If you guys don't know me, I'm a Sagittarius.
Mm.
You know, something like a whole lot.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. I don't. I think that if you, I say it like this, then I feel like I just want to back. I like you can keep me in a enclosed area. Let me run around. Just let me know where the boundaries is, and I'm good. As long as let me have some
Make it seem
boundaries.
like you're like a wild animal or something like that.
I
What's going
am a
on here?
little bit. I might be, and as
Wow.
long as I'm allowed to run outside in the backyard and there's a gate, we good. You know what I mean? That's all.
In the backyard. Wow.
I think that's how I visualize that. Like, it's all good.
Mhm.
And on top of that, like he believes in poly too. So the
Hmm.
see, like, look, it was all right there. It was all there. So all those things, those understanding, and we had conversations about that. At first, I talked about it, I actually didn't think he was that deep into it. And then as we got to know each other, and then I was like, wait up, okay. And his experiences have been surpassing mine. So
Mm.
I could shut the hell up basically. So that's why
Mm.
he can stay on his own in conversations and stuff, and it's not like it's different. So that's what I say that connection for me. I'm just giving an example for me for to y'all, but that
Mhm.
definitely is something. And I think that our dedication and the commitment that I have that I don't find in a lot of people, and the kind of loyalty that I have that I have to tend to back up on, he actually has that.
Mm.
So that also helps. So well, with all the things that are different, is there, and we're very compromising with each other. And so the things that we have that will help are there. The things that will help keep together the foundation are there. So yeah, that I don't really see. I don't know. I don't know what would take us apart. That's how it is right now. Like I could think of all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know. I think it'd be like it's cool. We figure it out.
Mm.
And I'm saying that right, but like he was saying it.
Mhm.
The guy with that was so that's why I said about me being the only one who usually is like, oh yeah, I know I want to life partners, and the other person like, yeah, but like for someone else to say that they're like that, and then they're telling me what they want, also
Mhm.
that's like okay, we're matching.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm like,
Okay, so I would say out of the three that Miss Polly named, I would say for me, Miss Polly would be a twin flame, because based on the fact that we are both fire signs. She is a Sagittarius. I am an Aries. We are a lot alike. Too much alike at times, but you know what I mean. That's why we can joke around and we can say certain things and we understand what each other is saying. Um, you know, I know who my soulmate is, but that's for me to know, for nobody that for only them to know. And and muses, I feel like muses, they come around pretty often. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people can inspire you. You know what I mean? You could be inspired by people from different aspects. It could be even of the same gender, right? It don't have to be even nothing
Yeah.
romantic, right?
Mm.
So I would say like a musical muse for me is like Michael Jackson. He's very inspirational. And he allows me to feel, creative and inspired and things of that nature, right? Nothing romantic. But but then there's also, you can look at a female muse and be like, you know what, man, she's inspirational as well because she's a female. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it could be different for either or. It don't have to be non-romantic. But when it is in a romantic sense, where you do find a female muse, right? It's like, all right, like man, like she inspires me. She cool. It's just something a little missing. You ever eat something and it's like this tastes good, but it's something missing. You know what I mean? I can't put my hand on it. Something ain't there. Something is not there. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we just need to add some salt, some sugar, some something. You know what I mean? Some sauce, something, condiments, whatever. But something about this is not right. You know what I mean? I'm
Mm.
inspired. I like them. They cool, but they are only amused. There's nothing else they're gonna ever be. You know what I mean? And then with a twin flame, y'all butt heads so much at times because there's too much alike that you need breaks from each other. You just need breaks. Like, yeah, I need a break from this person. We just too much alike. You know what I mean? But then also a lot of that times is because of our own insecurities and our own self hatred at times. To be honest, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why like a a twin flame will get on your nerves because it's like, dang, like we just too much alike. Like, and I don't even like myself like that. So them being too much like me, you know what I mean, it will aggravate me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
if you don't like yourself, you're gonna have a problem with your twin
you're
flame.
gonna have a big problem. Word. But all of them can be romantic. I do feel like people marry their muses and their twin flames more than they marry their soulmate. And even the statistics show that most people don't marry the soulmate. They don't marry the person they're really meant to be with. They don't. And sometimes when they find them, sometimes it's way down the road, or sometimes it's just too late. You know what I mean? So if you are able to find that person at the perfect time, at the right time, and everything's gelling, and and you find a soulmate, man, that's like hitting the lottery. Like you better take the money and run, literally. Take that person and go build you a family, a tribe, whatever y'all want to build it together. Because most people don't find that. Most of us are finding our muses and our twin flames. That's it. You're not gonna find a soulmate like that. That is very hard to find. And a lot of times too, and like you said, we can meet those people more than once. So sometimes we meet a soulmate. Sometimes we're not even ready for it. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? We may not be in a space and place in our lives, maturity wise, to be ready for it. Or maybe we may not be in a space in our lives to be ready for it, as far as someone who we can actually be with. We can already be in a relationship already, right? We can have a lot of kids, and the kids are just taking up a lot of our energy and time and space. So we're not able to really invest, or we investing in a career or school or whatever else, right? Or maybe even a religion. Oh yeah, I said that. Sometimes your soulmate could be another religion. Oh yeah, I said it. I said it. I know that may sound crazy, but it is true, right? You can meet your soulmate and they don't believe nothing that you believe, right? They believe something entirely different. And now, you know what I mean, you gotta really see, do I want to continue with my soulmate, or or do I want to follow this religion? You got to kind of pick which one, right? Sometimes you got to pick between your soulmate and what you feel is a spiritual belief or a priority in your life. You know what I mean? And so sometimes that will make it where you're not able to be with that person. So yeah, Miss Polly, it's on you. What do you say?
I mean, when it comes to that, um, I think, like you said, I wanted to, like you said, the twin flames. I'm like, yeah, I do think you meet. Like I said, everybody hates that, I talk about being poly sometimes, but I think it's a little different for me. Like I said, I think everyone naturally is poly. Like I've always said that. You're
You say you
natural.
believe everybody
You're
naturally is poly,
naturally
right?
in the state. Your natural state. I think you're poly. Because monogamy is a
In
choice.
most cases, most people are poly. In most
Yeah,
cases, they are.
yeah, and that's okay.
Um,
That's okay.
but
And I,
we don't want to accept that because it's not accepted in society.
I mean,
It's looked down upon.
in this society, I think I will admit
Yeah.
that's starting to change a little bit. But the reason
Oh,
why I
it's
bring
changing a
it up,
lot.
well, the reason why I just bring it up because I think now since we're going into a new era of being able to explore multiple relationships in I think they're going towards moving in a multiple relationship in a healthier manner. The way that they were doing it
Facts.
prior, but yeah, they're still doing it now. For the
But
majority, is that it's like the cheating, the running around not committing, but being with seven people, blah blah blah. You're still doing it. You're doing it unethically, and it's mentally draining and straining on others because you're not being clear about things. We're learning to lie, all this. But when you
mhm.
take away all those things and you make it into a healthier way and help people walk through that process. Because it is a process to go from monogamy that's been indoctrinated into you since birth to
Mm,
monogamy. I mean, from monogamy to poly, it is a process.
mhm,
There are some people who are just naturally minded like that, but for whatever reason in their life, even for myself, example, if I saw what it should look like, I guess that the husband and wife, and that's it. But I didn't see a lot of other stuff. I didn't have a lot of other um, outside influences about that, other than okay,
mm,
there's a lot of single moms who, and then there were, they date people, but it wasn't like a scary thing to date more than like have dating. It wasn't like I never saw like extreme like people with 15 different men in 3 months. Like I didn't see all that. So for me, it was just
mhm,
like, either you're a single mom, you didn't really see a lot of men come in and out. And then, if
mhm,
I did see grandparents, they were married for a long period of time. And that was it. Or other people who were married. And that was it. But I didn't get a lot of like, you couldn't do it a different way.
mm,
So and then so me being like, well, why if I feel like I should like to more than one person, or I care about more than one person, why is that wrong? And no one really had an answer other than you can't do it. To
mm.
me, which is usually the answer is that oh, you just can't do that. That's not right. But like why isn't it right? Like because it's not right. So,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean
like,
they can't. That's not a question that can be foundationally answered. You know what I mean?
yeah, and
You can base it around spirituality or religion, or just
I don't
or
think
just
there is an
feeling
answer.
that people feeling that it's wrong. But yeah, you can't
I
really
mean,
give
there isn't,
a definite reason of why being
especially
poly is completely wrong.
right. And if you're a young person like myself, where we're reading the Bible and we talking about Bible, I hear about those people having multiple spouses and people all the
Fact,
time. So for
facts.
me as a young person to be, 14, 15, saying, "Hey, I do like two people," I didn't think that that was weird. That made sense. So like it just was like okay. It wasn't
Yes,
like it was
it's not a sin to have multiple spouses. So I just want to put that out there. It's not a sin to have multiple spouses. Okay, it's
right.
just
I
not
just
legal. So because it's not
right.
legal, it's wrong. In the eyes
And
of God or in the
actually,
eyes of religion. But
and,
it's not a sin. So I want people to
right.
understand that it's
And
just
the
not legal.
reason, right, and the reason why it's not legal is not based on because it hurts someone's feeling. It's based on people using government assistance and eat incorrectly. That's what's called
Yep,
bigotry, because they would
yep.
get insurance and other things like that for
Oh,
multiple
you get a
children
lot.
and things like that. And just say, oh, I'm married to five women, so we get all the food stamps and we all live and we get all these benefits. And
Hmm.
that was why it kind of stopped start being at real issues because people were abusing it and using it to get benefits, even health benefits, Because if I can
Yep.
get married to you and then I go over here and marry her, now we both can be on the insurance, or I'll get her insurance, and the government
The
obviously is the
multiple
one to
incomes be
top line.
hitting, boy. I tell you, multiple incomes be hitting like a mug. Hey, when you got multiple incomes, man, it's a good thing. I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna lie. You got more than one income, it feel good. It feel
Yeah,
good. You know what I mean?
yeah, they
You
don't
know,
like that.
the chicken be chickening. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real. You know what I mean?
It
It's
just
a good
can't.
life. It's a good
Yeah,
life.
I mean,
And
that's
that's why
really
people
the
stick. That's
truth.
why people stick in it, even if they're
Yeah.
not happy, because you know what I mean. You get used to a certain lifestyle. A lot of people do that. They stick in
Yeah.
relationships or marriages or whatever else because you get used to a lifestyle. You
Right.
know, even if you're not completely satisfied or happy or fulfilled, right?
Right. So
But like
yeah,
you say, now that
I want y'all to
we're
know.
moving more to a more liberal society, right?
Yeah.
Because we're in the last administration of that politically and socially of conservatism, right? So we got another
Mhm.
2.5 years of this, and then once the 2.5 years is over and that nut job is out of power, then it'll be more liberal. But my question is this, Miss Polly. I do have a question that's kind of on what you're saying. It's a little off topic, but it is based on what you're saying, right? Do you really believe a liberal or poly society is really healthy?
Hmm.
Can people really handle that? Really, like
I
seriously?
think I'll say two things. I don't trust people in general. I know it's gonna
Yeah,
sound
me
messed up.
neither. And I don't like most people. So go ahead.
The reason why I'm saying it in general is because there are always gonna be the few who screw it up for everybody else. They're gonna use it
Mm,
incorrectly. And that's just what it is. They're gonna use it incorrectly to get things, and they're going to hurt people because it benefits their pocket, and they're going to abuse it. And when they have the abuse, the abuse gets the spotlight in it. I don't think the whole society should always do it. I think it should be open as an option, but I don't actually think it should be the majority because most people, for some reason, most people aren't able to do it mentally.
mm-hmm.
And that transition, like I said, is indoctrinated. So it's like it would take lots of time for this to change. But then just to be able to have some legal rights for certain things, I
Mm-hmm.
think will be fine for some who want to do it. But overall, should the masses be like that? No, because it would be abused and there would be too much stress on laws to make ensure that it wasn't like that. And so then
Mm,
it would be too stressful. Because like I said, there'll be people who are gonna abuse it. We have to be in the logical state that we know that. There's gonna be people who just
mm.
try to get 2 or 3 wives and then they sit at home and they don't do anything and these women are having kids and they're trying to get benefits and blah blah. We know what that looks like. They have done it before. That's why I said it was
Yeah.
out. So we know
But
that.
hold on. But what if these people agree, right? So I can
Right.
see if somebody was being forced into this, right?
Yeah.
Because most people are being forced into monogamy, right? You know what I mean? To be honest, a lot of people
Mhm.
being forced into monogamy. A lot of people I know. That's why I said 90% of marriages that I've seen have been trash, right?
Right.
Including family members, trash,
Right.
right? Now, the 10% of marriages that I have seen that have been good, right? A lot of those marriages are based on people with their soulmates, or if they don't marry their soulmates, they have a really good, relationship with their twin flames or whatever else, right? Or their muses. But most marriages are trash because they are put in situations where they are forced to be with someone, right? Whether
Mhm.
they don't want to pay alimony, whether they don't want to pay child support, whatever else the case may be, right? They are put in situations that they don't want to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? And that makes a difference. So I think now if you
It'd
give
be
people
the
the freedom to
same.
choose between monogamy or poly, you know what I mean, with structure, so I agree with you, has to be
Yeah.
structured.
I mean, it would still
With
be the same.
structure, it'll be a
It would
lot
still be
better.
the same. I think a lot of the issue is, and then people not like this what I'm saying, because I really don't like marriage, right? I don't really, how I feel about that. I don't. The marriage is there for the splitting and assets and all that, and kind of to protect the people who have money per se, but it can affect
You talking
mental
about you talking
health.
about you're talking about the government institution of marriage, not
Yeah,
not
yeah, Yeah.
Not what marriage represents spiritually, right? That's what you're
Right.
talking about.
Correct. So
I
if
completely
you
agree. Go ahead.
remove that, if they remove that,
Hmm.
there are a lot of these problems with it
That's a fact.
because you're penalizing someone to. It's literally like you're leasing. That's why they said there should be something like renewal of marriage, because
Yep.
you're basically saying for this period of time that we've been together, our relationship was worth this, or we gained this much assets. But if we separate, how do we split it up equally or at least fairly? How much stuff in our relationship did you do that I'm going to count as a physical income, even if a stay home mom is equivalent to a cash amount, and not everybody's cash amount is equal. So it starts turning into a business. And so,
Plus, Miss
it,
Polly, right? Miss Polly, this as well, right? People we change it, and this is a scientific fact, right? People can argue this or whatever. It's a scientific fact that we change every 5 years,
mm,
right? We change every
mm,
5 years. People change every 5 years. So, person changes every 5 years. You know what I mean? We have to know that the person that you married in their 20s is not the same person in their 50s or even in their 30s or even in their 40s or 60s or whatever else. They are a different person.
right.
Okay. And even if you do marry your soulmate in your 20s, or even let's say you married him at like 18, fresh out of high school, they're not the same person at 35. They're not. They're gonna be different in some ways, right? And you
Mm,
guys can be together forever, right? It can last the test of time, but understand you're gonna go through growing pains and changes. That's gonna happen. So I think the thing is that what people expect in relationships, especially in marriages, you hear a lot of times where they'll be like, "Oh man, the reason why the relationship fell is because that person changed." They're supposed to change, right? They're not
right.
supposed to be the same. You're gonna
Yeah,
change, right? And if you don't
right.
change and you're not growing, then yeah, it's probably something mental or emotional going on with you. You probably got like a mental emotional health issue, to be honest with you. But a regular cognizant adult is gonna change every 5 years.
Well,
That's just a fact.
that's why these relationships that are based off of this surface, that doesn't make sense. When you have a conditional relationship, it's idiotic to me because
Mm,
if you're one of your conditions, especially if it's physical, which most people, women, if it's height, because if it's whatever, because you can get
mm-hmm,
a leg can get messed up, and then you're not standing all the time. You can get oil spills in your face, whatever, and you look different
mm-hmm,
whenever it's 5 years. So if anything, even women, if you get older, you look different. At this point, if you are
yeah,
basing it on that, it doesn't make sense because your contract will be void at some point. You're just waiting to win that.
mm,
So at this point, you have to have something deeper, and that's why you should look for people. Um, when you have relationships, look for the things that you know that are most likely won't change. There's some things about people that aren't going to change, because obviously as you get older, you've been doing certain things for so long. That's why they'll say, "Oh, they get so these older men, they won't change. These older women," and to some extent, they're right because they've been kind of indoctrinated into doing the behaviors they have. It takes a lot to change those behaviors, and the first step is wanting to change.
yep,
So if you base it on that, you really need to find. You must like the base of the person. Like if they're a
mm,
very neat person and you're not, and their whole life is really OCD, why are we
mm,
trying to get with them? Like it doesn't make sense.
mm,
And there's just certain things where like the base of those things that are core values in people, no one's connecting with core values. They're connecting through things that change, which doesn't really make sense because then your
mm,
contact's only as good as that. So it doesn't make sense.
mm.
So anyway, but I mean, to teach
So, so
their own.
so all relationships are basically living on a prayer. Be
Right,
honest.
basically. No, that is. That is true. That is true. As soon as you stop being able to pay something, as soon as you
Mm,
don't look the same. As soon as we're like, oh, I don't look the same, or anytime somebody starts complaining about how somebody looks or how they stop doing stuff like I'll even get it down to stupid stuff like cleaning and all that. I'm like, they was probably dirty before, or if they wasn't dirty, they didn't really value cleaning like you. Like you should have saw that and knew that. So either that
fact,
was
fact,
okay. You know what I'm saying?
facts.
People get tired, they get
I always say
old.
most people know what it is before they even get involved. They know what it is, but you like what you see, or you like how they make you feel, or you don't want to be lonely, or whatever else, right? Or like I said, spiritually, a spiritual advisor, or um, you know, or somebody that you look up to, or as a church term would be like somebody that you're in fellowship with, or they also have these things called like D partners. That's a church term that I'm using. It really means discipling partner, or somebody you get with for like spiritual advisement and
Oh.
counseling, and you kind of help each other. So, with that being said, you're listening to these people, right? Or they make, like I said, a person makes you feel good as well for whatever reason, or you don't want to be lonely, and now you're with this person, but you like, yo, I don't really, I ain't really vibing with this person no more. Like I ain't really feeling them like that. You know what I mean? Like they not it for me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Salute to Gatto Preto, Derma the scientist. Salute, salute. That's a very, very, very cool name. Salute to Goddess with the pen. Salute family. Salute, salute. Um, you know what I mean? But and hey, I just meant to write the salutes in the chat. My bad, y'all. Because I do want to continue the conversation. My fault, Miss Polly. My apologies. But yeah. Um, my whole thing was because I don't want to lose my train of thought. I want to continue the conversation. My whole thing is just that at the end of the day, right? I think that if we're gonna do this conditional thing, right, where we're saying, okay, listen, this is a contract, right? And let's say, okay, let's take my philosophy. Every 5 years, right? Because we changing, we're gonna see if we want to renew this contract or not, right? So we 5 years in, right? We done got married. We 5 years in. Now we're gonna see whether or not we want to continue. Now listen, I think there should be a grace period, right? So let's say after the 5 years, you don't want to be here no more. I don't want to be here no more, or vice versa, or whatever else. One of us don't want to be here, maybe both don't want to be here. It should be a grace period, right? We should be given, I would say, maybe like 6 months to a year to kind of get our lives together, right? So let's say I'm paying the bulk of the bills. You're not working, Miss Polly. You don't have anything, right? I need to give you a year to get things together. It's just not fair. You don't have nothing, right? Me just kicking you out in the street is just bad. You know what I mean? Whether we got kids or not, you gotta uproot your whole life. So whether I want to leave or you want to leave, cool. I gave you that 6 months to a year. You got your life together, right? You got that grace period. Now you can move on. Now you can find somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And now you done got you a job or whatever else. You probably done found another guy, and it is what it is. Or let's say we both want to leave, right? But let's say we have a lot of assets. We should be given 6 months to a year. You know what I mean? To kind of work through the assets. We ain't gotta do the court or none of that other stuff. You know what I mean? So like we could just literally, you know what I mean? Just work through whatever we want to work through and just keep it going. You know what I'm saying? So I think that will work better, and I think people will be happier in that sense. Instead of you being forced to stay with this person forever, and you don't even want to do it. Like you want to leave, and they know you want to
I don't
leave.
know. I
You know
don't
what
know.
I mean?
I
Like
don't know.
you
These
want to get
people.
out of there. You know what I'm saying? And like now you gotta sit there and be with this person that you don't want to be with forever, right? And then if you do say you don't want to be with them no more, right? Now everybody judging you, they family judging you, your family judging you, friends and associates, and everybody got all these questions. People judging you for no reason. You like, nah, it just ain't work out. Like it ain't even what y'all thinking is. Like we just mutually said after the 5 years we good, right? We could avoid all that now, right? Because
Well,
now,
and then that's the question. You did all that, but that's the question. And then why even do it in the first place?
no. But see, here's the thing, Miss Polly. Maybe listen.
Yeah.
Humans are not perfect, right? We
Right.
okay. Let's say, hold on. Let's say you meet somebody, right? Let's
Hmm.
say you meet somebody. You think this person's gonna be your best friend, right? Or let's say you met me. Let's say you met me, and we're doing the streaming thing, right? We meet each other. We're doing the streaming thing, right? And let's say you know, when we meet each other, you're like, yeah, me and Mr. Best, we're gonna do this and that, and the third, we're gonna stream, blah blah blah. It's gonna be this way. You think that in your mind, things can change. People change, right? I said every 5 years, people change. So if people change every 5 years, yo, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying?
You might as well. But what's the purpose then? You might as well not.
Yeah, but the thing is, maybe during that time, everything was everything. Maybe it was good during that time.
Well, you might as well just. Okay, listen. I know I'm against it. Now, the only reason I'm not, I would be open to it. Like I said, if it's something about someone's health, if it's something where like it means something to the other person, like extremely like means something, like there might be like very, like you said, a religion thing, or like it really means something to them. Okay, you could probably compromise and just do it. But this is why, because you can literally just be a oh my God, what's it called? Basically, you can be someone's partner, and all you have to do is show that you live in the house with them for 6 months. And there's some other things you have to do. But like, just show you guys share some bills and stuff together, and you live in the same house for 6 months. And it's a domestic partnership. You can be a domestic partner. And basically, you get the same benefits. You can be on their insurance you can be at it, you can have insurance on there. You can go get their insurance. You can do all that stuff, and you don't have to be married. So all these reasons why people usually say they're getting married because they need benefits. Usually it's health benefits, and to make sure, or insurance. That's usually the reasons why people actually get legally married. So if that's the only reason, and you like you said, like in 5 years, you could do that for 5 years. And then in some states, you already married somebody after 7 years, even if you want to be on that. So it's like, if you don't have to actually have that, then why do it? I know people are like, oh, it means something more spiritual, but like, you don't have to. You basically get the same benefit.
The spiritual matters, right? The spiritual thing that counts, right?
I said,
in my religion, I need to get married, right?
But what are you doing?
With someone, then I have to get married.
Yeah, but you don't have to. You can still get married. Listen, I need y'all to stop pushing this thing. I'm gonna say this only one time. I want y'all to start crying. You being married is a ceremony in front of other people to show that your dedication to that person in front of God and others. It is not in front of the state. That is not in the Bible. Stop bullshitting and telling people that. You can go have a marriage. You can have a preacher there. You can have the church there and everything. You do not have to go get a legal document saying I owe you something if you leave me. And that is what it is. It is a contract that you're signing. And I need y'all to stop bullshitting, because you can go get married under God because of your faith. That's fine all day. Ain't nobody said nothing about that. But that's not what that is. When you go to the court office, you actually have to do both. When you go get married, you can get married, and then some people don't even get their license until days or weeks later. That's the honest truth. So stop BSing and telling people, oh, it's because you don't have to take your ass down to the courtroom to do that. That's a lie.
Most probably you've heard this video. You heard this.
Wow. That, sir, was quite an entrance.
I'm just being honest with y'all. Stop lying to yourself. Stop saying, oh, go to get it legally. No, you can go to your preacher and go to your church and have a ceremony in front of your mom and your grandma and in front of God, and it's fine. It's the same thing. Most people do that and don't even have their license yet. Stop BS.
People are figuring that out now, Miss Polly. They're figuring
they
that out.
Figure that out. That's why they stupid and they keep doing the same stuff and then try to go back. And that's why people get married and then they say, oh, he tried to take all my money. Because you went to the courthouse. Take your ass to the church. Like you said, if it was for God, go to the church. Because I don't remember them saying God was in City Hall.
It's still going to be recognized. It's still got to, even the church will tell you that you still got to be recognized legally by the state.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
You do.
That's not true.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. There's a scripture that
tell me why, because you know I am actually able to marry people.
I'm going to tell you why. There's a scripture that says you have to obey the laws of the land. Okay?
No. So the law of the land does not say you have to get a legal document saying I owe you money at the end of this marriage.
On that, the laws of the land.
The laws of the land do not say you have to do that. It's a lie.
It don't say that in order to be recognized as a marriage, it's got to be legal.
No, it says to recognize your partnership with someone so you can get benefits. You should read that document.
Listen.
I'm telling you, go read the document. The document says these two are joint connected for debt. It's so that if you die, they can get their debt paid. It says it. It's like if something happens to you, that you are liable for the other person's stuff. If something happens to them, that's why when people die, the debt goes onto their wife or husband. It literally is a way for them to collect money off of you.
I get the
So
I get
there is no
I get
the
the money
law of the
aspect.
land
Not,
is not there, sir. You can't use that. I'm not gonna let you use it. The law of the land has nothing
is
to
a
do. That's
scripture.
not a law. The law of the land says nothing about you having to go get a document. You go in there and you say, I want to be connected with this person financially, so if something happens to them, they can take care of me. That's what it is. I'm not saying you're getting married. The marriage is still recognized under God. That other contract, you guys should go get a marriage contract and read what it actually says. It is talking about debt and money. It is not talking about nothing about recognition of y'all being together, because you can do that at the church.
Okay, okay. So, right? So you're saying that the church that are telling people that they have to be legally married, you're telling that they're telling people wrong.
That's incorrect.
So you're saying so you're saying that they're incorrect.
That is incorrect. If the church is telling them they have to go get a marriage license from the state that recognizes that they are joint together to make sure that debts are paid. That's not correct. You don't have to do that. The recognition that you guys are talking about when you're talking about the Bible is to make sure you're joined together is through the Bible. It's for your Christianity. It has nothing to do with the law. There's not even a law. It's literally a contract that you want someone to sign, saying that something happens to that person, I'll take care of it. I got them. That's what it is. It's a contract that holds you legally liable for another person. That's why when you sign your birth certificate, you're saying you're liable for that person. That's all you're saying. I'm liable for this person until they're 18. That's why if something happens and you're on the birth certificate, you're liable financially and any other way. That's what those are. Those are contracts.
Okay.
And they might try to force you to sign the contract or birth certificate. That's why men don't always sign it, because you don't have to sign it. It's a choice. That's all it is.
You need to run for president, Miss Polly.
I'm just telling you it's a choice. But the reason why mothers want to take, because you get benefits. So they'll say, well, make sure you sign that. We can give you benefits and stuff. And not just benefits like this. I'm not talking about just food stamps, nothing like that. I'm talking about benefits from getting health care and all that stuff, all kinds of things. Because you want the children to show that they belong to you. The children are looked at as assets. They always have been. That's why even now they're looked at assets. When you go to court, divorce and all that, their children are assets. That's why they move around. They're not seen as people. Like it's a joke. It literally, that's why dads, if they don't sign it, they're not liable for that person because they didn't sign anything saying they are. And then men who do that and who aren't the dad, unless they have proof that they're not the dad and that it was incorrect. And that's why now they even changed the rule, as you clearly see now, that if you sign it, they already told you if you sign it, it is what it is, because you're signing a contract saying you're liable. That is on you. So that doesn't make sense. That's why it's such a big deal if people lie. Under false pretenses, I signed this contract, which is the same as if you went to go get a washing machine or a car under false pretenses. You thought the car was new and it wasn't. You can be removed from the contract.
Comparing this to a washing machine or a car?
I'm being honest. That's how they look at you. So when you come to me and you tell me it's about loving God, it's BS, because at the end of the day, those state contracts are only for money. So don't tell me that's why you're getting married through legal ways is because you love someone. That doesn't make sense. You couldn't tell me you're getting married because, hey, this person has a problem and I want to help them, and being connected to me will help them all day, because it will hold you liable. But it's a contract, and I want to stop pretending that it's not. It is. And you should read it if you don't know. It is a contract holding you liable for another person. And that's why it's very important to know and understand why when you get married, when you sign that, it's deeper than just, oh God, we just love each other, we want to take care of each other, and I got you. Because if you read that and you say that, and then on 2 years later, you don't want nothing to do with that person, well, you just signed yourself to be connected to that person legally. if they act out, you're connected to them.
Yeah. That's a fact. That is a fact. I'm not disputing what you're saying. You know, from the
I just
legal
think I
standpoint.
understand it's hard for people to breathe, but at the end of the day, it's a contract. That's
I
all.
will read this comment here because it seemed like he has a lot to say. Our brother King's Table, what's going on? He said, obey the laws of the land. He also said, is there any matter ends up in the court will not recognize you as married at all.
Yeah, I don't want them to recognize me to be liable for some other person. You're right. I don't want to be liable for someone else. You're correct. I don't want to be liable for your debt. You're right. I don't. Nope. So, and I'm not saying I would never do it.
A lot of like you said, right? From what you're saying, Mr. Polly, right? A lot of these things are based on people's perspective. That is based on things that they are told that are not true, right? So a lot of times, you know, it's based on people's own delusion and what they believe, and things that they think are true, but they're really not.
I won't call it delusion. I understand it's
but it can lead to delusion, though.
I mean, but I'm talking in. Okay, sometimes when I talk like this, I think people get more sensitive because it's emotional, and I am a very emotional person. But I also know that there is sometimes you have to know that you have to understand that there is something that is realism, and this is real, and the real reality is
exactly.
This is what it is. Now, I can love you all day, and I can be married to you. It makes me feel comfortable, but a lot of that is a safety net because it is a contract.
Facts.
And that's okay if you need that. But don't BS me when you say, oh, you need to get married. No, I don't need to get a contract. And I'm not saying I would never, ever do it. I promise you I'm not saying that. If there's a few reasons, which I mentioned earlier, where I would bend that for someone. I would. But this, even if I didn't want to, because I think it's a contract and I feel some way about it. But at the end of the day, I know that there are some instances where I can't fight the law. And I know that if something was to happen, like I said, if it's health or something, if I didn't have a lot of time, I would do it. Like, let's say, like, if someone found out they got diagnosed with cancer, let's just say an example. And I'm with them for a long period of time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I have benefits that I know that can get you care, and I can't, we can't get it without this. I would do it. But listen to what I just said, if I had to. But if now there's domestic partnerships that if you're with me for 6 months, I mean, I could still put them on it. So at this point, if you're still getting the same benefits, why do I have to get a legal thing that says if something happens and you don't like me? And this is me talking as if I was a guy too, because a lot of men are always complaining about these things. But if you can get a domestic partnership where you still get the same benefit, even if they have kids with you, they get, you can get the same stuff with just signing it outside of that contract. That's the bigger contract. Then you can still do that. And a lot of times they won't tell you this. And this is even for buying homes. They tell you to buy homes before you get married, because separately you can probably
they'll say to have kids too,
because you can separately do better separately, and then when you come together, you guys just have two houses, and you can rent the other one out, and you have a whole other property. There are things that you can get and maneuver things, which rich people have obviously financial literacy, that you can move around certain things and move a certain way and not be married at all. And even if you were to get connected that way, because it does have benefits to it, financial benefits, like I just said, you can move things around, get things together, but they advise you not to buy things when you're married. They say do it before. Oh, your wife ain't got her stuff together all the way. Oh, don't put her on there yet. Don't get married yet. They tell you that when you go to the damn bank. So like you're not confused. You're in the thought process. You're connecting the Christian, go and get married through and that God under God and make a dedication to the person you love in front of people. I do believe in that. Regardless, you should do that. That's important for Christian thought, like great stuff. But then outside of that, though, when it comes to the other stuff, you don't necessarily have to do the other things. That's all I'm saying. And you can still get the benefits as being married. You're not breaking any law by not doing that.
True.
That's all I'm saying. And then I hope that I think that if people stopped doing that and did what I'm saying, the domestic things and things like that, and move things around, there'd probably be a lot less people getting so upset and murking people uh over
Yeah, that's crazy. I
divorces
understand that,
or
lady.
stuff like
That's
that. I'm just
that's
saying because
nuts.
you got pregnant, let me murk you. Like no, because all they see is money. You think I'm thinking about money, but most people are losing their mind over money. They doing wild stuff over money. Oh, you got a baby, I gotta get rid of that. If you don't get rid of it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. Like they're losing their crap over thinking they're gonna be in debt for 18 years. Think about that.
Mhm.
They're losing it. Well, let's stop
Yep.
that. Let's stop doing that.
Mm,
Let's stop putting ourselves in situations where we can be devastated for decades
mm,
until we find the right person.
mm,
Well, most people are getting married more than 2 times.
That's true. That's
Or they'll
true.
get married once and then they're done. And if they still want to believe in love, they'll do it more than one. They're doing it like you got married once and you said F it, they usually want more than once. That if you gonna do that 2, 3 times, now you out of line.
Wow. Wow.
How many
Okay,
engagements you went to? I'm just
so,
saying you're not lying.
so, so back to the original conversation, right? That we were having initially. Um, so
Yeah.
when you okay, now you say you can meet your soulmate more than one time in your life, right? You said it's a potential to do that, right? So if there's a potential to do that, right, and you meet them more than once, right? Now, when that happens, you know, is somebody calling you? I think somebody is calling us. Probably. Hold on. Hold on, everybody. I'm gonna mute Miss Polly Mike for a second because she does have an echo.
Give me 1 second, Mr. Best. Keep going talking.
Oh no, take your time. I'm here.
Okay, sir. Okay. So
So yeah, and meeting those that might be a soulmate that was on the phone right now. No, I'm joking. I'm only joking. I'm joking.
okay.
Um, with that being said, Miss Polly, right? Um, because you say you meet this person more than once, right?
Yeah.
Was there a time that you met your soulmate and you weren't ready?
I don't think I've met them before. I think I've crossed paths with
Mm,
I like the actual person. I think I've crossed paths with this particular person before. Maybe, yeah, because we kind of knew kind of the same similar people, lived in the same place at one time. Um, but I don't recall actually seeing them. But do we know very similar stories about like the same people, or like they might have heard about me, but they never saw me. And then also, like I said, I think there's more than one actual soulmate. Like so, have I ever met another one? I don't think so.
mm. What about when you met your twin flame? How many times have you met them in your lifetime?
Um, I believe I only met one.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I like it. The mirror is so ridiculous, disturbing.
Mm. Did you get along with them, or was there some like turbulence?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got along with them. I think they're There was, yeah. I mean, there was because we're very similar. It's just we're very similar but different. Like we're like yeah, we're like the same things we've gone through. So I could always call them and ask them something. Like and when I mean very similar, like we had the same amount of children, we had the like almost the same age. The things we did through those processes are almost exactly the same. We crossed like we traveled in many of the same places. Um, and I don't mean like doing some of the things that we went through in life were almost exactly the same. Like I tell a story and he tells a story. I'm like the same as that. Like yeah, it's like that.
Well, I'll say for myself, I met my soulmate before, my soulmate now. Um, but what happened was I just felt like they were boring. So yeah, I
Oh,
know,
Jesus.
I
Okay.
know, I know, I
And they
know.
usually are. I mean, they're going to be
I was
different.
listen. I was only like 23. Okay, I was 23. I was young. All right. So and so yeah, my mindset wasn't there. It just wasn't. The maturity wasn't there. My mindset wasn't there. I longed for that, but my mindset and maturity was nowhere
Yeah.
near there.
Okay.
Um, and
I,
yeah, I never wound up like dating them or being connected with them at all. But I did meet them at one point in my life. You know what I mean? And then of course, like I said, I met them again now. So
yeah.
we're connected now. So um, but then also as far as twin flames, yeah, I had some some twin flames interactions, and those were interesting. Um, and then with the twin flame, it was also a thing of maturity. Like we were maturity wise, we were in two different spaces. So because we were in two different spaces, we often, bumped heads, and we often did not, really get
Yeah.
along like that. After a while, we were too much alike, and then also maturity wise, we would bump heads as well. Um, but yeah,
Oh.
as far as muses, like I said, there's been plenty of muses that I've had. Some muses, you never even meet. You know what I mean? There's some people who inspire you that are a muse, but like you said, some musical artists or whatever else, right? And you meet them, you know, but you know what I mean? But yeah, you it may not even be romantically linked, or even if it is romantically linked, you may have a crush on them or whatever, but sometimes you don't meet them. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't happen. But but yeah, that has been my experiences. But Emma's probably
Yeah,
anything else you want to share?
no, I mean, I know we were to get off here because I definitely had to call that person back. But I think that you like they almost like look like me. They don't look exactly like me, but like it's like
Oh
weird. Like
wow!
it is creepy. Like they don't like I'm not into
Are you talking
like
about your soulmate or your
no,
muse?
no the mute, no the twin flame. Like
Oh, the twin
we
flame. Okay.
aesthetically, like I'm like I don't even like light skin folk. You know what I'm saying? I be saying that and stuff, and
Oh wow!
he the same thing. I'm like, and
Not
then we
not
start
you not
we
you
battle over who's lighter.
not you complexion shaming. Come
Yeah,
on now.
I was. Like, I was like, first off, you're
Discrimination.
lighter than me, sir. You know what I'm saying? I got to let him know.
Wow.
He is still brighter than me. I'm gonna need him to stop lying to me.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, he has light color eyes. I'm like, no, listen, I want you to know, you's the one whose grandpa is probably full on Caucasian. Okay, don't do that. Both
Wow.
both sides.
I've, I've heard before while I've been streaming, somebody said they wanted somebody semi ugly, right? So I
Yeah,
guess Miss
no.
Polly, do you fit into that? You want somebody semi
Yeah,
ugly? You want
like I don't like him. Like I don't like all
wow,
that. Like that. Yeah, but he isn't. So like it's annoying. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's like
wow,
looking at, like, I'm not saying I'm fine. I'm just saying, like, he wasn't this, you know what I'm saying? Like, then I'm like, why, first off, you're yeah, like, the only thing that caught me is when we had conversation, and I was like, oh, a lot of the stuff you said is the same as me. Be honest, I was
mm,
totally not, like, interested. Like, I was kind of like, he hit me up on, uh, a dating app, and I was like, Okay, I talked to him for like a couple minutes. I was like, and then he had said one thing. It was something about children. And I was like, oh, okay. And then that was it.
Mm.
Then I was like, oh, okay, that's neat. And then we were just like inseparable. Like after we hung out, we went on a date, and then like we was
Aw.
it. That was it. And yeah, and we're like he's like that like a little hole too. You know. Then I feel like when I call him a little hole, then I'm like,
Oh
well,
man,
you know, just
that
talking about
little whole
myself
thing that
too.
you always,
You gotta
the
call him like
little
a
whore
little
thing that
bit.
you
Like
always
they
say.
talk to so many people like that, but then I like if I'm looking at myself, I gotta stop calling that because then I'm saying that. So then it started
Oh
getting
my
you know,
goodness.
and I'm like,
Oh
like
my goodness.
yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
he definitely was. He definitely wasn't.
Mm.
Okay, anyway, it's fine. You know, and then like not working with your skills, your words,
Uh-huh.
all those things that I struggle with too. Hanging, all kinds of things. We battle with lots of stuff that was very similar, even to this day.
Mm.
And it's like every time something happens, it's like it'll happen to them too.
Mm-hmm.
It's really strange, but it's fine.
Mm.
It's weird.
I got you. But yeah, Miss Polly, I'm glad that we were able to build on this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
This has been Evaluation of Love, episode 21. Miss Polly, don't go nowhere after we end because I do have to chat with you just a brief moment. But
Okay.
but yeah, thank you for everyone who did tune in, everybody who showed love. We truly appreciate it. Everybody's gonna, definitely do the replay thing. We appreciate you as well. And y'all been doing the replay thing a lot lately, man. I don't know what it is. Like, the replay value been crazy for me. Like, the replay value and the shorts. It seemed like y'all really love that. I don't know what it is, but the shorts and the replay value, like y'all be on it. Like y'all be like, I'm a replay this. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm like, all right, well, thanks.
Mhm.
When I go live, sometimes y'all show up, sometimes y'all don't. No matter what, I appreciate all the love. We appreciate all the love. Whether you hear live, whether you do the replay, whether you watch the shorts that we put up. And trust me, more shorts are coming soon. You know what I mean? Shorts are not cheap, so when you don't see shorts, that means that what I mean, that I pay some amount of money, or I got some other things that may require my finances. So I'm not doing shorts at the moment because shorts are not cheap. They are a pretty penny. They are pricey, right? So it costs some money to do shorts. All right, to clip a video and do some shorts, yeah, it ain't cheap. So if you're a content creator, you know what I'm talking about. But but yeah, guys, we love you guys. All right. Thank you for tuning in. And
Yeah.
definitely, as always, if it resonates with you, like and subscribe. And yeah, you can leave comments as well if you would like. And we definitely appreciate y'all. All righty. Much love, guys. Later.
Well,
The DJ, the DJ, the DJ, the DJ.